Slayer.
Hey guys, QuinntonTV here, and welcome to a brand new video where today we are back with another Halo Infinite video. And it's been a while since I've made one of these, genuinely just because there's been absolutely no news, but I am going to be trying to keep up with all the Halo Infinite news over on Halo Zone, so make sure you go and subscribe to Halo Zone, because honestly, it's not just me uploading on there. There's other people who make absolutely amazing content, so I definitely recommend you guys go and check it out. But anyway, as you guys are seeing this, it is the 15th of June, and today, the 14th, we had the Halo Infinite multiplayer reveal, which was very interesting. Well, I say reveal, it was kind of like a breakdown sort of thing that 343 did on their YouTube channel, which was pretty interesting. I actually reacted to it over on Twitch, so if you guys want to go and check that video out, it's still up there. It should be up for another 2 weeks. Halo Infinite multiplayer is looking pretty cool, and I should have a Halo Infinite multiplayer going up sometime after this one, but I wanted to do this one because on the 13th, the first day of E3, we had a campaign trailer. Now, a lot of people weren't expecting this. I personally kind of just guessed that they'd show a campaign trailer because we obviously got one last year in 2020, and it wasn't exactly well received because of the graphics, so I honestly thought that 343 would want to show it off even more and show their improvements they've made, and my god are those improvements insane. I'll get to that in a bit, but we also got a trailer. Well, sort of not really a trailer, it's kind of like a cinematic almost. It could be a cutscene from in-game, like the Discover Hope trailer we got at E3 2019. The cinematic shows some pretty interesting stuff off to us all, so we are going to be taking a look at that today, which is going to be, you know, pretty interesting. But before we take a look at the cinematics, we're going to take a look at the graphics and how they have massively improved, and I'm just going to show them off now because they look absolutely insane. So the presentation as a whole was presented by Joseph Staten, who, if you don't know, worked on the original Halo trilogy. And then obviously we are joined by, I think she's the president of 343, which is Bonnie Ross, and basically they're just talking about like the themes of Halo and stuff like that, and then they say, oh yeah, this is what the game looks like, and you're going to see that on screen now. I'll be honest with you guys, when I saw the graphical improvements yesterday, because I did watch the stream, I didn't react to it just because I was at my nana's, and when I actually saw this, my jaw completely dropped at how beautiful this game looks, and my god, there's so much detail, and the graphics have improved so much. Like, I'm just going to show you guys this. So this is the foliage in the original tech demo, well, not tech demo, in the original gameplay demo that we got back in 2020. Now, here is what we got here in 2021, and it's honestly night and day different. It looks so much better, and I'm actually so happy we had this extra year just to get an even better game, and it just looks absolutely phenomenal. There we go. And there's just so much detail. Like, yeah, I will say that things that are long distance don't look as good as things that are up close, which is fair enough. I'm not going to be like, you know, looking at things miles and miles away. It's, you know, it looks fine, and honestly, this is a lot better than what I expected, to be quite honest with you. Like, this just looks absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, with this video, it doesn't do the true beauty of Halo Infinite justice. Go and watch the full campaign demo, well, campaign cinematic, and then obviously it'll have the presentation before it, and you can watch it in, I think, up to 4K, so it'll be a lot better than it is on this video, because obviously I downloaded the video in 1080p, and then this video is going to be going out in 1440p, so it will look a lot better on the original video. I'll try and remember to link it down below, because honestly, it just looks absolutely phenomenal, and there's quite a lot of detail hidden within this short little, you know, graphical overhaul update looking thing. So I'm gonna just go through some of the details here, because honestly you wouldn't even notice them if they weren't pointed out, because I didn't notice them the first time I watched it, or the second time for that matter. So we're gonna just go through this now, and we're going to take a look at some of the hidden details. So the first thing I want to take a look at is this screenshot right here. So there's a lot of detail just crammed right in to this one screenshot. So the first thing I want to point out is the ship in the top left corner. Now, I have no idea what kind of ship this is. It looks a bit too, too big to be your average troop transporter. But, it's probably a spaceship of some kind. Maybe the Banished have had, like, a spacefaring fleet. I believe I watched a lore video where it said they didn't have a very big one, but they still had one. So maybe that is a ship that is part of this. Now, we're going to take a look at this base-looking thing right here. Now, this base, as you can see, you've got a marine stood by some form of control panel next to like a yellow container, and there's a mongoose not too far next to him. Now, he's kind of on like the Warzone wrecked vehicle deployment pad. It's sort of like that, and I'm assuming that you'd go onto this console, input what vehicle you want to get out of it, and a certain vehicle would rise out of it. That's how I'm assuming this is going to work. It might work completely different. Maybe you call in a Pelican and it drops it in for you, or maybe it's just a vehicle spawns on it every now and then, and that's the only vehicle you can get. And obviously, this one would have a mongoose on it. Having it like on a set spawn limit, that would also kind of make a lot of sense as well, because that's kind of how other open world games do it. They have like a vehicle that spawns in, and you take that vehicle and it'll respawn after a certain amount of time or whatever. Now, if you look over to the right of the mongoose, you can see some form of green box with the MA40 on it. Now, I'm thinking that this is going to be like a weapon pick, so similar to the rec system in Warzone, you pick your weapon from here, so you can pick up the BR, you can pick up the assault rifle, maybe the DMR, a Magnum, well, it's actually called the Sidekick in this game, but you can pick up whatever your weapon you want from there and use it to help you on your journey across Zeta Halo. I'm assuming that's what it does. Now, what I think would be really cool, I actually heard Hidden Experian mention this in his video, so I think it's a pretty cool idea. Say if you have like a randomizer skull on or whatever, it basically makes that box into the mystery box from Call of Duty Zombies, and it gives you a random weapon, and that would just add so much replay value to the campaign, just because you can get random weapons and you use that to complete the level. I think that would be absolutely insane. Now, the last thing I want to point out in this one screenshot before we move on to the next one is this weird looking building in the corner. Now, if you look next to the trees, you can see like a metallic, almost Forerunner looking structure, and below it there is a deep metallic red base, and I believed that this is a Banished hideout of some kind, or it was. Now, if you've ever played a Far Cry game, they have the towers system, and you have to take the tower to basically control that area, and I'm assuming that's what they're going to be doing with Halo Infinite. So the base that you are seeing on screen is kind of like a tower, and you have to take that base, and then this base, which has the marine, the mongoose, and the mystery box looking thing on it, that has to be taken throughout the game, and I think that could be a really cool idea. It'd really basically make more people more invested in the game, and that's one thing people really like about the Far Cry games is just how you take over different areas. So I'm thinking that maybe if you take these Banished bases, you set up a stronghold here, and you get your vehicle pad, your mystery box, and all that good stuff. Now, we're going to move on to this next screenshot now. So unlike the last one, this thing only has two little points of interest to it, and that is this green beacon that you see coming out of the base. Now, essentially, this is linking back to the idea of like a tower system, like in Far Cry. Basically, this green beam shows all the bases you have taken, and as you can see in this one, this base has been taken as it's got marines in it, so I'm assuming that this green light means that the base is in friendly hands rather than Banished hands, which it would kind of be cool if once you take a base, that wasn't it. Like there was attacks like in Far Cry, brute hordes or something would come and just try and take over the base again, and you had to defend it. I think that would be honestly really fucking cool. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is this weird looking structure. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was a Palace of Pain. Now, if you don't know anything about Halo lore, when ancient humans were basically put onto Zeta Halo, they were basically experimented on in these Palaces of Pain, and there was multiple across the surface of the ring. Now, I thought that when I saw this, that such a dark, forbidding structure contrasted with the light and beautiful landscape, I thought that would be a perfect Palace of Pain because of, you know, its foreboding nature and how it towers over all of nature. But most likely, it is a kind of like a detachment of the earlier Banished base because it's kind of got that dark red, you know, like kind of theme to it. And it does have an insignia on it. It's on like the front on some sort of flag. It is too far, and obviously zooming in kind of like loses all the details, so we can't tell what that is. So we'll probably have to just wait until the game comes out until we see that. Linking back to the whole Palace of Pain idea, how cool would it be if the Banished had set up their own Palaces of Pain and were basically just torturing humans, and the mission to like liberate this base would be just to go in and rescue all the captured UNSC soldiers that were there? Because obviously the UNSC had fought a war with the Banished on the ring before the events of Halo Infinite, so it could be kind of cool to see like the consequences of that war and all these like POWs being captured and tortured by the brutes and elites and stuff like that. I think it could honestly be really, really damn cool. Like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of like grasping at straws right here, but, you know, it'd kind of be like a way to make the game feel more alive, and obviously like a true war where the Banished are absolutely ferocious adversaries. Yeah, I think it could add like a sense of realism to it all, and, you know, it's dark as hell as well, and Halo always has these darker moments surrounded by these moments filled with hope, and this area could be a moment where all hope is kind of like sucked out. All the people look absolutely dead inside, and it's just they feel like there's no hope until Chief comes and hope is basically, you know, restored to these guys. It's kind of like what the trailer said, the original gameplay trailer, and that is become the hope, and you are becoming the hope of all these people who have been captured by the Banished. Maybe I'm thinking a bit too much into this right here, but honestly I just think it's a cool idea. Now we're going to get onto the cinematic, which is going to be a juicy part of the video. So this trailer shows us some really cool shit. Now, the first thing is Master Chief being an absolute badass. Essentially, he's got one shot in his sidekick pistol, and he uses a fusion coil, pulls it towards him, and then throws it out and shoots it to blow a hole and get entrance to this ship. And how badass is that? Like, I'm sorry, people who are out here like, oh yes, Master Chief isn't that badass, just look at this clip. My god, it is one of the most badass things I have ever seen. And it just, when I saw this clip, I was just like, holy fuck, this is the most badass thing I've ever seen. It's just so damn cool. I'm not going to talk too much about it, because honestly, it's basically just me saying, oh, Chief's a badass, oh, it's so cool, like, the effects look really cool, or whatever like that. And we're going to get into, like, the meat of this. So, essentially, Chief is navigating this ship, and he's coming across loads of dead bodies. At first, it's kind of like the bodies of, like, old grunts, and then the Halo 4, Halo 5 grunts, which I think is, like, a kind of cool blend of modern and old, which, you know, honestly, that's pretty damn cool if you ask me. And then, eventually, Chief gets to this area, and there's a lot of dead Marines, and that's when the tone kind of changes to be a lot more somber, and then a familiar voice kicks in, which I'm gonna let you guys listen to now.
I need you to understand. There's not much time. If you knew how you were going to die, how would you live your life differently?
So essentially, what we get within this clip is Cortana, whether it be a newer incarnation, a version from the domain, or just the old Cortana, like calling back to Halo 3. We don't know, and we don't know what the hell is going on. We haven't got a lot of context for this scene, so we're going to have to probably wait and find out if this is a cinematic in the game or like a cutscene or something like that. We're probably just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But essentially what she says is, if you knew how you were going to die, how would you live your life differently? Now, we have absolutely no context to what she's saying or what has happened, and honestly, it's kind of like a mystery. Even later in the trailer, we kind of sort of get a little bit of a clue, but it's not enough. We're still asking loads of questions, which is just the sign of great marketing. We want to buy the game to play and see what happens with Cortana, see if she's still alive, see what happened, etc, etc. So, now we get on to the big reveal of this trailer, and that is...
Where is Cortana?
The rogue AI known as Cortana is gone. She's been deleted.
As you can see, this is Cortana 2.0, as the community is calling her, or her official name is the Weapon. Now, essentially, what the Weapon has been made to do is help with the deletion of the AI Cortana. And if you don't remember, there was a chip in a trailer a while ago, which I believe was the Discover Hope trailer, that had a Cortana model on it, but it wasn't our Cortana. And that is this Cortana, also known as the Weapon, because it is still a clone of Dr. Halsey, it is still voiced by Jen Taylor, and honestly, Hidden Xperia said this in his video, but my fucking god, hats off to Jen Taylor for this performance, because it sounds like Cortana, but we can all instantly tell that he's not Cortana. Have a listen.
Of course not. Did you hit your head or something? Don't you remember? My instructions were to enter this installation, imitate Cortana, and lock her down for retrieval. Yours were to take her back to the Infinity for deletion.
But my god, I have so much respect for that woman, just because how hard it must be to create a familiar voice with a character, but also a different one at the same time. Like, honestly, it doesn't even make any sense to try and do. So, yeah, it's kind of like, as Hidden Xperia put it, I know I'm quoting him a lot in this video, but he kind of put it as an uncanny valley version of Cortana, because it's not quite the Cortana we knew, but it looks like Cortana, and it acts like Cortana. What I find really cool is the fact that this Cortana, or the Weapon, I'm going to start calling her the Weapon because it makes more sense than just calling her Cortana 2.0, and hopefully she gets a better name as the game comes out or something. Maybe Chief gives her a name later in the game or something. And essentially, her role is going to be like the old Cortana in the game. You're also going to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot. My absolute G. Honestly, I've missed the guy so much. He is actually in this trailer. I've not shown his voice yet, but he is there. If you want to go and watch it, I recommend you do. You can actually go and watch it in 4K, which is going to be a lot better than this video. But as stated in the prior clip, basically the Weapon's goal was to get in there, infiltrate the base, pretend to be Cortana, Jesus Christ, I can't fucking speak today, but pretend to be Cortana, and then basically capture the real Cortana and get Chief to come and delete her. Now, basically after this, Cortana 2.0, or the Weapon, was supposed to be deleted herself, but she's still there. And once again, this is where the marketing for Halo Infinite comes in, because we don't know what's happened to Cortana, and apparently, according to Joseph Staten, it's going to be one of the great mysteries of Halo Infinite. Where has Cortana gone? And that's going to be one of the great mysteries throughout the entire game, and it's just kind of cool to see a new AI that's kind of like Cortana, but this one actually has clothes on. But it's like, as I said, an uncanny valley version of Cortana, because it looks like Cortana, it acts like Cortana, but it is most definitely not Cortana. Like, we can just tell that from just looking at her, to be quite honest. And when I saw this originally, I was like, is this Cortana? But after, like, listening to her speak and how she acts and her personality, it was basically night and day obvious that this wasn't our Cortana. And honestly, a cool dynamic is that her and the pilot are going to be helping the Master Chief out on his journey across Zeta Halo. Honestly, I think that's a really cool concept. We have a new Cortana and a new character to kind of help out. Honestly, it's kind of cool just to have characters other than Cortana and Chief as sort of like the main cast, in the sense. Like, you've got, like the side characters and that, but we have two like kind of supporting characters, if you want, just to, kind of like back up the Chief's role. You're playing as Chief, but you get to listen to the dialogue of Cortana 2.0 or the weapon, and obviously the pilot. And honestly, I'm hoping to give the pilot a name like Gary or something, I don't know. And then I'm hoping that the weapon gets a proper name by the end of the game, like, I know, Lucille or some gay shit like that. But I don't think there's actually too much more to say about this demo, other than the fact we don't know really what's happened to Cortana. That's going to be one of the game's great mysteries. Basically, Chief puts her, the weapon, into his head via the chip and obviously the neural interface that Spartans have. And yeah, that's essentially how the trailer ends, and it's interesting. I can't wait to see more. I hope that we'll get some more campaign stuff before the game comes out in the holiday of this year. Honestly, don't even know. I don't think the game's going to be delayed any further, just because of how good and how polished the game looks. And obviously we've had the multiplayer reveal, which I should be making a video on that in a few days, because honestly that looks polished as fuck, and it really does look really damn cool. But anyway, that's going to be it for today's video here. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. Make sure you turn on post notifications so you never miss a single video, or alternatively, you can join the Discord server as a link down below. But anyway, this has been QuinntonTV, and I'll see you all in the next one. Man, I'm so ready for Halo Infinite.